we go.
Okay.
Stefano, take us away.
You can hear me, right? Ooh. The sec. I had a problem. Okay, I ruined your recording. Can you hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I'll share my screen in a sec.
And yeah, anybody, if any questions come to mind, just pop them in the chat, and we'll answer. Stefano will answer all of your questions at the end of the talk.
So this is becoming a mindful creative, and so how mindfulness helps building creative confidence, emotional intelligence, and management health. My name is Stefano Bellucci Sezza. In the past, I was a visual designer, then I instructor, design lead in a startup, survey designer for FutureGov, was a consulting agency. I also teach again. I'm one of the mentors on the list. And now at the moment, I'm a business innovation consultant. I'm a freelancer. And I got here to this talk today. Something that I've done in the past year also to launch a podcast. It's called Design in Confidence. And in confidence, I feel like I'm an imposter, I'm anxious and vulnerable. And this throughout all my career as a creative. I struggle to call myself creative. I keep making mistakes. I feel vulnerable when I share ideas. I feel anxious when applying for jobs, choose the next projects I need to do. I feel anxious and imposter and vulnerable when I give advice to others, or when I delegate tasks, when I facilitate, and when I'm with other projects to work on. And to be honest and confident, I'm not confident about giving this talk. And that's because I have a voice in my head that tells me I'm nobody. And yes, the voice looks like Zazu from The Lion King. Last week, Anton made an exercise, did a workshop. And this is how I describe my creative process. I keep learning, but my imposter syndrome keeps growing as well. So I keep alternating between asking myself what I should do and what I have done. And I know that I'm not the only one. These are the others from other people that use words like moment of despair. I can do this, I'm a fraud. Oh no, what I have done. I have a creative block. And please, here, Mr. or Mrs. Green, who goes even more in detail, maybe can do even a better talk than I'm doing now. She starts neutral and then talks about defensive position, insecurity, deadlines, and self-doubt, and afraid of feedback. So I want to talk now about mindfulness. I want to do it a different way. I'm gonna reserve for the talk just at the end, and all the slides to the talk is how I use mindfulness in design to build the creative confidence to give this talk. So I'm gonna talk about mindfulness, what it is, dealing with negativity, and what I call iterative confidence. And then after I'm gonna do the talk about how you can design your creative confidence, emotional intelligence, and manage your mental health. So what is mindfulness? You can Google it, and you're gonna find more authoritative sources that I'm gonna say. It comes from the word sati, and it's about being able to focus and being aware. So the way I like to describe it is sometimes I do decide what to do. So for example, I get bored, and I think, what I would like to do, what I could do now, which option I prefer. And I say, okay, I'm gonna check my social feed. Sometimes I don't. I'm like on autopilot. I'm on the toilet, I hear a voice in my head, check your local feed. And then another voice says, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. That happens also when I don't hear the voice, I just do it. The voice is whispering inside my head anyway. And mindfulness brings awareness of these voices. I have many voices in my life. We all do. And some are good, like I have a voice that tells me a lie on my YouTube, so I should be worried about it, or you to mind the gap when you go to YouTube. Or don't use Comic Sans. But there are also others that tell me that I can do this, I'm a fraud. Or that I will do it tomorrow. Or good designers don't look like me, they look like someone else. I don't have time for something, and this is right, or I'm not good enough. So for example, when Anton contacted me for this talk, say you will talk will be at the MICFest as part of getting shit done. My voice inside my head of course said, they think the podcast you made happened is shit. Nobody better applied, you are boring, nobody will care, and you know nothing. So I have these voices. When I try to move forward, I feel terrified. I hear a voice, oh, you're terrified. You must give up. And I doubt myself. I keep doubting now in this moment whether I should give this talk. But then I have this other voice that try to fit in and say, look harder. So yes, I'm terrified, but actually, am I really terrified? Terrified is probably a word I should use to if a lion is about to eat me. Maybe I'm scared, I'm worried, apprehensive, and by being curious with this awareness that mindfulness gives me, I try to not judge and just be curious about what's happening in my head. So I ask myself, why? And understand actually this is just present because there are some risks involved in this talk and I have some areas of improvement, so how am I doing better? And so many unknowns, like who or how many people are going to show up. So actually I start to become more friend with this zazu in my head. It tells me about the risk, unknowns, and areas for improvement. And when I move forward, then I don't have only an option to give up. I understand that I have to explore others, like find ways to motivate myself. So, for example, reminding of similar things that were scary I've done in the past. Understand how to manage risks, ask for help, and just prepare. So I accept and trust my thoughts and feelings. And that's actually what Zazu did to Simba. It's okay to have negative feelings. They help us not being recklessly overconfident. And Zazu actually was just telling that to Simba. To just be, I'm sorry if you can hear background voice. If you're to not be too overconfident, because he was putting other people in dangers and he wasn't actually trusting who was wiser. The problem is it's not okay to have only negative feelings because we need to diversify them. So mindfulness helps me be aware also of not only about the risk, but also about the hopes, emotions, knows, and ideas I have. I accept those thoughts, this variety of thoughts, without judgment, and that enables me to diversify my thinking. There is a really good book, I don't know if you know about it or you ever heard, which is called The Six Thinking Hats by Edward de Bono. It actually talks about how we might have in different phases of the project, different hats that we wear that look at facts or emotions, risk, idea, hopes, but also of progress, the process. So the other thing I try to be aware of is that this diversity of thinking allows me to have the right approach in different phases of the process. And this helps me learn. So I need to let go of perfection because the progress is in the process of learning enough to build the confidence progress. So the diagram I showed before that I did during the workshop last week, I go forward and I try to build my confidence. And if I keep thinking about trying to be perfect, it's not going to happen. Because mindfulness has to be aware that when getting shit done and expect the shit happens. Mistakes are going to happen. And I need to accept that. And if I don't, I start to be in a vicious circle where I care about the negative consequences. I'm aware of why I'm not good enough, for example, to give this talk. And I start to think about the risk, unknowns, error improvements, and I don't go forward because to care about the negative consequence I might create and might generate. So because I try to aim for perfection, I need to aim for the perfect slides, for the perfect talk, for the perfect confidence to start to give a talk. But mindfulness helps me to accept it and let go. So instead of caring about the negative consequences, I start to care about learning. I'm aware of everything I am, not just about the negative thoughts, but also the others. And I let go of perfection. This helps me focus on the process and reverse this vicious circle, which means I'm going to start to care to learn. To be aware of everything I am, to care to learn, and dare to change. And this is what I've done that build up on here now, this talk. In the past, I created experiences, I was teaching, I did improv, consulting, blogs, and other things. And this helped me consider everything I've done, not the reason why I'm enough to give this talk. Because building confidence is an iterative process one chat at a time. I made a lot of mistakes, but from every mistake I try to learn. But also because mindfulness helps me being intentional. So I dare to give myself an opportunity to learn here, but also I dare to give what I learned to others, to you now. And being Italian, if you didn't understand it by the accent, what I like is that the word there in Italian, if you spell it like that, dare means to give. So my intention for this talk is to dare to give you my learnings on how you can mindfully design your creative confidence, emotional intelligence, and manage your mental health. So let's start the talk. So becoming a mindful creator, how you can mindfully design your creative confidence, emotional intelligence, and manage your mental health. This talk is not going to be about mindfulness and me. It's going to be creating and you. It's not going to be about having a beginner's mindset and not judging by confidence. It's going to be about mindfully researching and defining yourself. It's not going to be about accepting and trusting my thoughts and feelings about this talk. It's about mindfully co-designing with your parallel thinking and other people. It's not going to be about letting go of patience and not striving for perfection and focus on the here and now, but it's going to be about mindfully learning iteration while you're good enough today to explore how you might be better. So everything is designed. I always say that on my podcast, and everyone is a designer. Not everything is designed mindfully. You as creative or as a designer, however you identify yourself, you might design businesses, brands, arts, illustration, events, services, talks, meetings, and all the other things. What I need to suggest you to do is that because everything is designed, also the creative that you are is designed, which is made of your feelings, your actions, your thoughts, your intentions, your values, your mindset, and your confidence. And you do that by being aware of all the learnings from failures and successes of the creative that you were, and make, test, and learn, so that then you understand who you are today and dare to explore and learn what creative you will be in future. And care about the here and now. So focus on the progress of the process towards your goal, not on the past mistakes and the designer you used to be, and not on the idealistic goal of the perfect designer. Also co-design to challenge your own point of view with different mindsets, thoughts, and feelings you might have. That will help you empathize and collaborate with different people as well. And when you collaborate with different people, make sure that people with different mindset, thoughts, and feelings will help you diversify and build your emotional intelligence. And like every creative process, designing yourself is going to be overwhelming, full of unknowns, risks, and difficulties. Diversity will make you more aware and in control of them. So what I do suggest, and I remind you, it's okay to ask for an external expert consultant. If big, famous, and successful organizations hire external agencies and consultants to innovate, so you can talk to a mental health expert. There's nothing wrong about that. And it's also okay to ask for an external expert consultant after building the confidence on doing it. I used to talk with a therapist before, and it took me years between the moment where I decided to do it and the moment where actually I started doing it. I need to build the confidence to do it. I had to talk with friends, talk with peers, talk with managers, mentors. Also, if you're going to do it, you can talk with me. These details below are not just so that the slides look pretty, but you can reach out, both on LinkedIn and on hello@stefano.studio. Remember that I'm not a mental health expert. Just make sure that you find one if you need to. And ask yourself why and how here and now. Am I good enough to dare? You can listen to the podcast Designing Confidence where I go in detail to more about these things. And again, you can ask me advice on LinkedIn, whatever. And thank you. Ora Santasana.
I'm sure I'm applauding for everybody there. Stefano, really, brilliant presentation. I absolutely love the Lion King references throughout. uh, how did the Lion King jump to your mind when coming up with this presentation?
I always try to label these voices in my head, and I think something that helps me about stories. That's why I consume a huge amount of TV shows and movies, is to understand how to think and what happens. And so I'm aware of those voices that happens in movie, and I try to label them. And I thought about Zazu because in the song, the famous song, "How I Have Blank," how like Simba sings the song about "I Want to Be a King." There is the dialogue about him being overconfident, and the overconfidence is always going to be one of my main challenges about worrying about something confident, being confident. So Zazu in that moment has that dialogue of where you should not be.
Yeah, amazing. It added such kind of emotion and power behind the words that you were saying. I'm interested to know how and when did you come across mindfulness?
It's actually quite funny how I got into mindfulness because I was doing acting, and my acting teacher gave me a mindfulness coach as a character to do on stage. And it was actually it was a funny thing. I was meant to be this high guru spreading wisdom in a funny way. And I didn't know what it was at the time, so I started to research, understand how to develop and design the character. And that was then an exercise, actually became an understanding of how actually also acting makes me more aware of who I am and in control of how I should be on stage. And from then I started to dig more into it and research. I've done a course about it. So that's what my journey to mindfulness is.
And which course did you do?
It's an Italian course. It is called like just becoming a mindfulness coach.
Okay.
There are tons of them. If you're actually Italian and you need one, just contact me and give you exactly the title.
No, that's absolutely great. And I think from the comments here as well, I'll just read a few of them. Lizzie definitely relates to the doom scrolling, which makes me feel so crap. Christina, oh my god, this is exactly the type of things my voice says too. Doubly for me as well. I could really resonate with all of those thoughts, especially the lion going to eat me. Such a good talk, thank you. That was such a raw and relatable talk, Stefano. Thanks so much for sharing your experiences. This is exactly what I needed right now and really spoke to me. Manam's asked, do you have any tips to overcome overthinking when designing?
So I'm not sure I understood correctly, but if I'm gonna reply, if that's the wrong question, please ask again the question. If that's the wrong answer, please ask again the question. So the overthinking comes from they're wearing different hats. I'm gonna make sure that I allow myself thinking and be creative in a time box way. That could be an hour, minutes, or sometimes also a week or weeks. But then to make sure that I committed to myself to have another phase where I'm gonna wear a different hat and think, okay, yes, I got a great idea, well done, but now we need to move forward and start to prioritize. So in general, like in design, but also in life, I think being able to prioritize is the most useful skill I had in my life. So being able to say, okay, this is the time of that, I'm gonna allow myself to be creative. And now I need to move forward because I allow myself to overthink. But now I need to narrow down and prioritize what I must do, what I should do, what I could do, and what I want to. I hope that will answer your question. If not, please let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned there about the hats. Are there any other books that have been helpful to you in terms of mindfulness?
I'm reading now a book because I listened to this podcast called How to Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, and his podcast called On Purpose. That's really great. And then I'm looking at my library here now. Actually, about productivity, getting things done, but I don't remember the name of the person, is really good. And a lot of books by IDEO. So I really struggle to remember names now. I'm really bad speaker. But yeah, just Google IDEO books. and 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 there are others about more mindfulness, which is, again, I'm really bad with names. I remember one is called Humble Inquiry, and the other is How Emotions Are Made, which again, I don't remember the writer. I'm so sorry about that. But that really makes you think how you can design your feelings. It's not about understanding how, like, controlling yourself within, but I think that we have these creative moments inside ourselves where we feel an emotion and we start to label it somehow. Like the example of before of terrified or panic or just worried. So at that moment, and it made me think how, as designers, we in creative thinking, we diverge and then we converge. And it's the moment of diversion where we instinctively pick emotions. And if we're never going to pick emotion, we select a solution if we never explore or consider it. But that's why it's important to have emotional intelligence, of diversify how we really might label that emotion in that moment. So I think, yeah, that was a book. I'm so sorry for the remember the writers.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm
We all have Google. We all have
But I recently put them on the new website, finally, of designingconfidence.com. I have a page where I have the references of books and podcasts.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I recommend as well the Thinking Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. It's really great, especially the audiobook, because he has a great way to speak and explain his thoughts. There's a question here from Lizzie. What do you think about making the time to play as well as being mindful? I still put a lot of pressure on myself to be productive and make the most of my time, even though I know this is counterproductive.
So I think actually, Lizzie, I'm still learning. Just to let you know, everything I told you, I'm still learning. And I think what's interesting there is that I that's a struggle of this moment of my life. So in the past, I was doing more improvisation, which I started to do again. That happened because I changed country, so I had to stop. But I think that was a moment where I allowed my brain to play. But at the same time, also during the process, probably we should make sure, as I was saying before, is to find the time is to just plan and decide in the hour you're just gonna think wide and try to allow yourself to that being productive is just that. And it's just in the same way you might allow yourself as a kid to play around with Lego pieces. Sometimes you just play around with Legos. Even if you're not actually trying to produce something, you just play and see what happens. That happened to me also while doodling. It's the same. I just play. And I do struggle even more in this moment of my life that I put my pressure that I need to produce something worth sharing, or I need to produce something impactful. So I don't have a better answer because I'm figuring out now, Lizzie. I'm trying to decide that I need some time for that. Just do it. Then I grab my iPad again and try to do because I know that that's the easier way for me to just do it, to just play with things. So I'm sorry if I don't have a better answer.
No, that's a great answer because like everything, like you mentioned in your talk, it's completely individual to us, and this is a journey of self-discovery and self-awareness, which you're never finished, right? You each thing that you do, you learn what works for you. You know, does doodling unlock that playful side? Is it something else? Yeah, really great answers and great questions as well, guys. Thank you so much. And so before we get into the exercise where we're going to do meditation, I thought I would just ask you as well about your podcast, and if you could tell the audience why they should go there and listen, and what would they expect to hear?
And so I'm not going to say why, because if it's worth a while, and I'm not a great advertiser, but I think the reason why I've done this, to be honest, is because I was doing mentoring on ADP List, and which I do recommend to any level of your career you are. Like, what unlocked me to actually start to help others to teach and then mentor, and now to start a podcast, is the sentence: wherever you are in your life, there is someone two steps behind you. So even if you don't feel that you're the best designer in the world, probably you're more relatable to someone else. So I recommend you to mentor and share. And while doing this mentoring, I realized how many answers I have, which I didn't realize, just because people were asking me questions. So, and I assume that these people that approach me for mentoring, similar to you, I didn't know you. And so the podcast was also a way to scale, say, my advice to others and my learnings to others, which might be relatable or not in some ways, because I touch different topics like portfolios, choosing the next career project, or just becoming more aware. Like I just finished the first season now, but the last episode is about how I don't feel I'm a good mindful person, and a good designer, and how anyway somehow I managed to deal with that. And if you don't like my Italian accent, I also have the transcript version of my blog on Medium, and there are GIFs, there are less of voices, because Zazu and Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame and things like that, sometimes I use voices. But I aim to make small chunks, 15 minutes podcasts, and as I said, designingconfidence.com, and then you let me know why it's useful, so I can understand and get to know you and understand who else can be useful to.
Brilliant. Well, very, very humble and very honest answer there. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and going to show you what we're going to be doing. So here we go. It's now not letting me share my screen. Weird. Let's see if I can share one window. Yeah. Can you see this?
I can see all black.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So as some of you already know, this is our workshops FigJam file. You can revisit the other workshops that we've done, including the one that was in Stefano's presentation, which is drawing your creative process. But for today, we all have a blank canvas, which might fill us full of dread and anxiety and fears, but fear not. So basically what we're going to be doing is to first set your intention. So think about a problem that is top of your mind. It could be a career change that you're thinking. It could be a design problem. Whatever pops to your mind, just have that clear of which problem you really want to solve. And then we're going to watch a meditation video together. So I'm going to open that now. We can just get into it and take a few minutes to breathe and relax and get into the meditation. And then at some point I'll give you a prompt to bring that problem to the forefront of your mind and just allow it to be there. Notice and make a mental note of the thoughts that pop up, and just be an observer of the related threads and thoughts that come to your mind and the visuals that you see. And then when the meditation is over, we're going to jump into this file and just grab the nearest free white square, and you can either this could be my square, you can either draw what you saw, or you can use the text tool and write what you saw. Just a free-flowing expression of what went through your mind during the meditation. All right, so
I don't know the others, but I can only black screen. But
okay, so not the perfect time for my dog to be barking, but okay.
I was saying I can see only a black screen where you share. I don't know if that's only my problem.
Oh, I can't see my screen. Okay, that's not as good. Let me try again. So weird. I've been sharing my screen the last 2 weeks fine, and now it's saying that it's not working. So bear with me just 1 second. Okay.
So because you started by saying so blank, it looked like there was a. So I wasn't sure if talking before.
So it does say that it's got access, but what I might have to do is just close, jump out of Gather and then jump back in. Maybe that'll kickstart it. So be back in a flash. Goodbye. Hello, I'm back and we're gonna give this a try. So share my screen. Come on. Oh my god, it's not working. What can we do here then? Alright, so what I'm gonna do, let's just improvise. I'm gonna share the meditation link. So make sure you're all muted and we can all just watch this meditation video, close your eyes, follow the instructions, breathe, and in a few minutes time I'll give you the prompt to think of the problem you're trying to solve. The meditation is 6 minutes long, but try to get comfortable, get into it, relax, and just be aware of the thoughts that pop to mind and the visuals. And then we can jump into the FigJam file, which I'll share a link of here as well. Okay, everybody cool to do that? You can't actually say anything, so. Alright, there's the meditation video at the top link, and the Figma link is below. So everybody go watch the meditation, and in 5 minutes you can jump back into the FigJam file and express yourself. All good? Christina says yes. I'm going to say yes. Yes! Brilliant. Microphone's off. Close your eyes, breathe, and watch the video. Molly, come on. Allison, come on. Come on. Molly, other side. Come on. Allison. Okay, so now everybody, uh, think about the problem you'd like to solve and see what pops to mind. Make a mental note and remember the visuals. Now give yourself a couple more minutes of the meditation, and when you're done, when you feel ready, head to the Fig Jam link and express the thoughts that you see, thoughts that you continue to see, the visuals, and then either write or draw, however you want to represent those in your white square. Okay, so you all should be finished with the meditation. Take a deep breath and head to the Fig Jam file and express the canvas of your mind in any which way that you like. And when you're finished, take a moment just to reflect on what you see, how it relates to the problem you're trying to solve, and have a look at other people's as well. See if you can make some connections there. You know, we've all just shared a meditation experience. Maybe there's some connections there in the cosmos that will help you with your problem you're trying to solve. And with that, I'd like to say thank you so much to Stefano for an amazing talk, really insightful. I'm going to share a link to Designing Confidence.
Thank you.
Designingconfidence.com, yeah?
Yeah, without the G. It's a pun. I like puns. It's design in confidence.
I've got it here. So I'm going to post that into the chat as well. Make sure to
Thank
check
you.
it out, everybody. Stefano, super, super grateful for you, for your time and the thought that you put into your talk. It was such a creative approach and kind of meta in a way that the thoughts that popped into your head about doing this talk itself, I thought was really interesting and super insightful. So yeah, thank you so much, and hopefully see you all at the workshop later today. Join us at 6 o'clock BST, where we'll be getting creative with paintbrushes, paper, objects, all sorts. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Yeah, have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.